Hi guys, and welcome back to my channel. In today's video, we're covering 4 budgeting mistakes that are keeping you broke. Stay tuned. One of the main struggles that I hear from my clients is that they're having trouble sticking to their monthly budgets. So today we're going to cover some very common mistakes that people make when creating their budgets and how you can avoid them. The first mistake that people make when it comes to creating a budget really involves their mindset. A lot of people start the process of creating a budget believing that budgets are exclusive opposed to inclusive, and that can really change how you interact with your budget throughout the month if you're feeling like you're having to exclude things from your budget opposed to including everything that you want to have a part of your budget. Let's use this jar of pens as an example. As a pessimist, you're going to look at your budget and say, okay, this is my rent, this is light, electricity, and we got to get rid of some of this stuff, so we're just gonna. Now on the flip side, an optimist says, okay, here's my rent, here's my lights, electricity, here's all the things that I need to have as a part of my budget, and we're just gonna make sure that we find a way for all of these things to fit together. Hopefully that makes sense to you. So ideally, whenever you make a budget, the goal is not to exclude things that you want and or need. The goal is to find a way to include everything so that you can accomplish your goals for that month. And so that's why this is number 1 on our list today, because we really need to do a very good job of changing our mindsets centered around budgets. Mistake number 2 is not having a defined budget style. Now, if you watch my recent video on how I create my monthly budget, you'll see that I actually have a hybrid budgeting style. And it's very important to define your budget style so that you can make sure that this budget is going to be what works best for you. Some people prefer to use pen and paper. Other people prefer to use applications on their phone. You have percentage-based budgets. You have cash-based budgets. There are so many different ways to budget. And so if you're creating a monthly budget that doesn't fit your particular budgeting style, it's going to be very hard for you to succeed with using that budget. So before you create your monthly budget, it's important for you to understand what budgeting style works best for you. And if you have more questions about my specific budgeting style, I will put a link to the video up here. Mistake number 3 is not following a zero-based budget. Zero-based budgeting is budgeting where your income minus your expenses equals 0. That means that during the month, every single dollar that you have is accounted for. When you follow zero-based budgeting, it makes it easier to stick to your budget because every dollar has an assignment. And when dollars don't have an assignment, it makes it easier to deviate from the budget that you've already created. And now, last but not least, the biggest mistake that people make is not tracking their budget. Budgets are not a set it and forget it type of thing. You need to be constantly interacting with your budget throughout the month. This is part of the reason why I do my budgets on a monthly and a weekly basis. And if you want to know more about that, you can check out my How I Create My Monthly Budgets video. But the most important thing about that is that throughout the month, I'm checking in on my budget and I'm adding or taking away where needed. A budget doesn't have to be finite and concrete once you create it at the beginning of the month. There are some situations where we have to go in and tweak when necessary. For example, let's say you come into an extra $200 that month. Well, now that $200 needs to be incorporated into your budget, and then you still need to make sure that you hit 0 at the end of the month. So when you track your budget, you're able to see an accurate view of your budget as you continue to move throughout the month. And at the end of the month, it's very important to reconcile your budget. So that means going back over your budget, looking at how much money you spent in what categories, and making sure that everything was allotted to the appropriate categories. And if you were over or under in any of the areas, then you're able to reallocate those funds. For example, maybe you spent less money on your grocery bill this month than what you planned for, so you put more money towards savings. It's important to reconcile your budget at the end of the month so that these types of things can be possible. Question of the day: which one of these 4 budgeting mistakes are you guilty of, and what's your plan to fix it so that you can improve your own personal budget? Make sure you answer it in the comment box below, and until next time, I'll see you soon.